There was a time when movies didn't rush you. They didn't scream for your attention or ask you to catch up. They invited you in, slow and steady, like a good conversation with an old friend. Imagine sitting in a dark theater, the cool air brushing against your face, the scent of popcorn mixing with the soft murmur of the audience. The screen lights up, not with the frantic pace we know today, but with something different, a calm, confident story that took its time, knowing you'd follow. And you did. You had time to let every scene settle in, every line of dialogue hang in the air a little longer. It wasn't just the stories that kept you coming back, it was the feeling, a feeling of knowing that what you were watching mattered. But something changed, and that's where things quietly shifted. In the golden age of Hollywood, movies moved with intention. They were about more than just telling a story. They were about crafting an experience. Classic movies, whether Western films or romantic dramas, moved at a pace that today's fast-paced world seems to have forgotten. Think of Gone with the Wind, The Searchers, or Casablanca. These weren't just films, they were worlds, and you were invited into them. Every frame, every sound, every pause felt deliberate. And if you wanted to pause and reflect, there was no rush to skip forward. You could linger on that moment, absorb it, let it sink in. Today, we live in an era where things are faster. Everything demands our attention in an instant. Social media, YouTube, streaming services, everything moves at the speed of a click. And while that has its benefits, it's also left behind something precious: the slow, deliberate pace of old Hollywood films. But why does that still matter to so many of us today? That's where the real heart of it lies. For many seniors, classic movies are a window into a world that no longer exists. A world that felt simpler, clearer, more grounded. Maybe it was the characters, the quiet strength of Gary Cooper, the charm of Audrey Hepburn, the stoic grace of John Wayne. These actors didn't need to shout to make an impact. Their presence on screen spoke volumes. And the stories they told weren't just escapism, they reflected a different set of values: loyalty, honor, love, duty. Things that we don't always see in today's films, where complexity often leads to confusion or chaos. For the older generation, those values resonate deeply. They've lived through times when things felt more straightforward, even if the world itself wasn't always so simple. And in the quiet, lingering scenes of a classic movie, they're reminded of those values. They're reminded of a time when life wasn't rushed, when people took time to sit with their emotions, and when stories mattered beyond just entertainment. But what happens when that nostalgia meets a changing world? What does it say about the power of old movies? There's no denying it. Hollywood has changed. As we entered the 1960s and beyond, the structure of movies began to shift. Filmmakers began experimenting with faster cuts, edgier content, and stories that challenged traditional ideas. The rise of blockbusters in the late 20th century meant that spectacle began to outweigh substance. And yet, for many, this shift didn't erase the importance of what came before. Classic cinema continued to endure, even as the world of film moved forward. But what kept people coming back? What kept the love of old movies alive? The answer lies in the emotional pull of storytelling. Classic films didn't just entertain, they connected. They made you feel something real. The nostalgia wasn't just about remembering the past, it was about finding meaning in the way those stories were told. Slow, deliberate, thoughtful. These films didn't rush to make a point, they let you discover it on your own. And that's something that modern cinema often misses. As Hollywood transitioned into the fast-paced, high-stakes world of today's blockbusters, the quieter, more intimate films began to fade into the background. Yet somehow they have endured.
For many, they've remained a touchstone of what cinema was always meant to be. One of the most enduring qualities of old movies is their familiarity. For seniors, watching a classic film isn't just a trip down memory lane, it's a return to something comforting. A chance to relive moments from their own past, or even to experience a time they remember but didn't fully live through. Consider the appeal of a film like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. The sprawling landscapes, the dust, the grit of the Western genre. It's a time capsule of a world that, though fictional, feels real. It's a world of heroes and anti-heroes, where honor is earned through action, not words. And for many, it evokes a sense of nostalgia for a time when things seemed clearer, even if they weren't always better. And that sense of comfort isn't just for the individual viewer, it connects generations. Parents introduce their children to the films they grew up with, passing on the love of classic cinema. It's a quiet bond that persists across time, one that never feels forced, but always feels necessary. So, how do we explain why this bond with old movies has remained so strong? What keeps the love for classic films alive?
At the heart of why seniors continue to love old movies is the timeless nature of good storytelling. Sure, the special effects are outdated, the color palettes more muted, the dialogue slower, but the fundamental truth is that great stories never lose their relevance. Classic movies, whether they're from the golden age of Hollywood or later westerns, were built around stories that transcended their era. They weren't bound by technology or trends. They were about people. They were about emotions, struggles, victories, and losses that are universal to the human experience. Think of Gone with the Wind again. The epic nature of that film, set during the American Civil War, is about far more than just history. It's about survival, resilience, and the complexities of human relationships. It's about Scarlett O'Hara's struggle with loss and love, about Rhett Butler's stubbornness and heartbreak. These themes have remained powerful for generations. It's this quality, that human element, that makes old movies continue to resonate with seniors. Because at the core of these stories, there's an understanding of the human experience that doesn't change, no matter how many years pass. As we reflect on why seniors still love old movies, it's clear that it's not just about nostalgia or habit. It's about the values these films represent and the way they allow viewers to connect to a different time in history. But more than that, it's about the way they make us feel. In a world that can sometimes feel overwhelming, old movies offer a kind of peace, a break from the noise. They're an invitation to slow down, to savor the moment, and to find meaning in simplicity. And while the world of cinema may have evolved, the love for classic films hasn't faded. It's just waiting, quietly, for the right moment to invite us back. As we reach the end of our reflection, it's worth considering this simple truth. These films aren't just relics of the past, they're a part of our lives. For seniors, old movies are more than just a pastime. They're a key to understanding a world that, though gone, still matters today. So, the next time you watch a classic film, take a moment to appreciate why it still moves you. And if you remember this era, you're not alone. These stories still matter. Thank you for joining me in this quiet reflection on the enduring love of old movies. If you felt the magic of classic cinema, perhaps it's time to share that feeling with others. Because sometimes the stories we love are the ones that continue to speak to us, generation after generation.